Hello my friends, and welcome to my video about the Cloudenergy 150AH 12.8 volt battery. This thing is a beauty. I'm going to tell you exactly why I bought it. I like the size of this thing. This thing is reasonably compact and small. I like that it has a metal case. Also, what I like is that this handle is recessed inside into the actual battery pack. The videos I saw on YouTube of how they manufacture this, it looks pretty professional. This is my own custom-made cabling for it. Basically put this power button over here allows you to see the battery voltage. You could see the battery voltage that's there right now, and you could also turn on these ports. This is one of those 12-volt cigarette ports that you have on a car that allows you, for example, to take one of these that has a 100-watt quick charger on the top and plug it into here. So you could technically use this like this. This only turns on and off this display and this USB port and this cigarette socket. So that's what's really cool, is that you could actually use this battery in one way, but it doesn't turn on and off these ports. That's not what that's for. What did I do here? Over here is my revolutionary system. I would say revolutionary in a way that one of the things is it already comes with terminal covers, yes. But I wanted to connect different devices, and I wanted to easily connect and disconnect different types of ports on there. So what I did was I bought these car fuses, which are 10 AWG, which are rated for up to 30 amps, which means at 12 to 14 volts, about 300 watts, they can handle it. I don't recommend sending so much through there, but the idea is this, is that if I connect anything to any of these ports, and there is a short there, that the fuse is going to blow before this battery, has a problem. Because you never want to short a battery. But regularly, with a regular battery, what you need to do is you have to connect things to these lugs. So what do I do here? Over here is what's called some sort of tunnel, basically, you put through here, and it measures amps in and out. And connected to it is this eco-worthy battery monitor. What I found with this one is that it's a revolutionary idea in that you don't need a separate shunt. Normally, to see the power in and out, you need a shunt, which is a separate thing where you have all this wiring, and people have these janky setups where it's completely inconvenient to use. But with this, I could see how much power approximately is coming in. I don't know what the accuracy of this thing is, but this is 150 amp hour. You could set it to the 150 amps, and it charges up and discharges, and you could connect multiple different devices to it. So the reason why I used 10 AWG cables, so basically here's how it works. Underneath here, I covered it up so that there's nobody, no animals, no children, nobody could get hurt from this. Underneath there is 3 cables connected to the standoffs, which is a screw-on thing. And I used a clamp thing to put on the copper bolting system and create this system over here. So why did I do it this way is that I'm not afraid of short-circuiting it, because anything I connect to here, if it shorts, one of these fuses would blow. And how I'm using it? Well, at home, I'm using actually a charge controller, these Bateria powers, where I changed the the adapter type that they came with, to one of this. This Anderson connector is a revolutionary idea. It creates a standardized way. There's these, for example, I can connect this device, for example, like this. Boom. And now I have this with already a fuse for 15 amps in here. So usually this device, it already might have protection inside there. It probably is not going to do more than 10 to 12 amps, which because it's 165 watts. So this is an additional fuse, which I'm happy to have. This is the PowerWorks WERX version of the situation. Otherwise, the cigarette lighter plugs, this one already came with this adapter type on the end. So back to the idea of this battery pack. So usually you have to buy what's called a solar generator, which is a battery pack with all this extra stuff connected to it, which it has AC power, converter. So it takes the 12 volts, it upregulates it, and at this capacity, it would probably be like a 2000 watt inverter. But most of the time, you don't need that. Most of us, we have things like cell phones and laptops, MacBooks, and things like this. So usually, that could be charged directly from one of these devices. What this device does, it's called a power delivery port. So the top one can do 20 volts, 15 volts, 12 volts, 9 volts, and even 5 volts. The bottom one can only do 12 volts and under. This one does, even the quick charge stuff. Basically put, you could plug one of these into this, and with the top port on this thing, you could charge up your laptop. You could charge up your cell phone. You could, plug in a lot of things. There's a lot of lights that are USB. There are plenty of compatible devices that are made for cars. Like, for example, there's a car heating blanket that takes 60 watts of power. So technically, with 60 watts of power, and you have 1920 watt hours, that means what? You could do 30 hours of a heated blanket. So this could probably heat you over the winter time. But then, at the same time, if you have devices such as this, what I use this with is I converted a Dell power brick, a 240 watt power brick, to connect to this. First, you have to connect it to the battery. First, always that's the order of business. You connect it to the battery pack, and on the other side you connect the Dell adapter, or I could connect a solar panel. I could connect a 200 watt, I could connect a 100 watt, but the maximum this charges at is up to 9.6 amps, which is about 130 watts. 130 watts goes into this, into 1920 watts a lot, so you don't have to just use one. You could use two. You could use 6, or you could split one of these ports up into a splitter, which I have cables off too, and I could connect 2 of these to one of these ports. The benefit of having separate solar charge controllers is this: let's say, for example, one of the battery solar panels gets blocked or shaded, or somebody's walking, or a dog decided to sit on top of it, and it stops generating power. This one will continue generating power. But when you connect everything to one large solar generator, A, it takes much more space. B, this is the most compact version I have found. I made a whole review video about this. Basically put, same solar generators. It could be used with a Dell Power Brick, which is the laptop one, 240 watts. It does 19.5 volts. You can't do 12 volt. I can't connect one battery and charge this one, charge another one of those. You need a higher wattage. So 19.5 watts is pretty good. And solar panels usually are between 18 and 22 volts when they go up to 200 watts. 200 watts and higher are higher voltage, like the 400 watt all powers is about 37 volts, and you might want to use the Oukitel with that. So why do I like this? I like that this is compact. I like the metal handles. I like that there's a metal case. So fire protection wise, that's better. But because this is lithium iron phosphate chemistry, apparently these things, they never catch on fire. They never do anything bad like regular lithium stuff. Lithium iron phosphate, I feel safe to be around in my home and things like this. What else can I say about this? The leads over here to in there, they use, I wish you would use bigger, stronger cables over here, because this 100 amp limit could be upped if they did it. But, you know, they're trying to save money. What I also like about this company is this Cloudenergy company is they make a lot of different form factors of these different battery packs. They also have a 300 amp hour one, and they have one that's also 24 volt. This one is also carryable too. It's about 35 pounds. This is probably about 14 inches by 8, so it's thin. You could stack these up on top of each other. And my idea is that we want to be as self-sufficient as possible. I'm an order of solar generators, and I already have a 2 kilowatt solar generator, the WOTOBEUS P2000, and that has already an inverter in it, so I can power my desktop computer with that with no issues. But then that leaves a lot of other devices that I might have the other power. But then if you think about this also, this is about $500 with tax and shipping. The WOTOBEUS, the cheapest price I've had it at was $1,100 plus change for the same amount of wattage capacity. But mind you, that has an inverter, that has USB chargers, that has a whole bunch of other things like this. But with things that I want to run off this, like for example, switch, let's say an internet switch, an internet modem, things that could use DC power, you could use one of these things. For example, they have these cables that have what's called a power delivery trigger chip. So you can make this port output 20 volts, 15 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts, and all the things, depending on the chip in there. So you plug in the cable, the special cable, and on the other end, you can have whatever wattage voltage you need. You're going to find that most devices run at 20, which is laptops, 12 for most devices, and 5 volts for a lot of things like cell phones and things. But cell phones, it really depends. You know, they can, when you plug a cell phone into one of these, it communicates with it and uses the best power profile. That's why the power delivery port is revolutionary. And you could do it with one of these. What else is important to know about this device? It works. I think this is great. I think this idea is revolutionary. You could watch the amount of the things. This is really cool because the positive terminal goes through this, is it an ammeter? Basically put there, they have these clamp-on meters that can tell you what the amps are going through a wire. It doesn't matter if it's AC or DC. Usually they work the same way, but this is designed, I believe, for 12 volt batteries, and it doesn't require an extra shunt, and it allowed me for this compact idea. My idea with this battery pack is that, let's say there's a power outage, I can take multiples of my solar panels and connect one of these. So let's say I connect 4 200 watt panels, and the maximum this charges at is about 130 watts. So I could do 500-600 watts charging right to this battery pack. And what I like about it is that there are no fans. When you buy one of those devices that is a solar generator, there's fans that kick in, and I prefer a quieter situation. I'm happy with my WOTOBEUS. The fans are okay with me, but that has quick charging. It does 1,200 watts an hour charging, and it's pretty much the same size capacity. So in an hour and a half, it charges up pretty good. But look, metal case, easy to carry handle, stackable. The price is reasonable. They have a version also that stacks on top of each other and doesn't require wiring between it. Basically put, you could stack 4 of them or 5 of them without any wires between each other and an inverter in one magic stack with 7.5 kilowatt batteries. So maxing out at 30 kilowatts, and that's about 8.5 thousand. But that's a really good deal compared to Blue Eddy and other companies that barely reach any of that. And for 30 kilowatts, that's very inexpensive. But basically put, I'm happy with this Cloudenergy battery pack. The compactness is nice. Check out the measurements on eBay. I like the metal case. I wish this power switch turned these on and off. Originally, I got this so that I could actually turn off the battery pack, but that's okay. These additional ports are very beneficial because if I wanted to, I could plug in this and charge my laptop directly from this battery pack. And other than running my desktop PC or a window fan or some other thing that uses AC power, I could get by completely fine with this. Even the lighting, you could do 12 volts and you connect it directly to this, and using Anderson ports, this made it a completely safe system to connect to. These 40 amp circuit breakers keep me from using anything shorting, but most devices already have a fuse in there, so that you don't ever have a fire. You never want to short this because then smoke will start coming out of it, and it's still not a good idea. The only way that this could catch fire is that if you started piercing the battery packs inside. But since it's metal, I like that idea too. Also, the metal makes it more fireproof and more secure and safe and things like this. That was one of my things with the battery pack. It has to be safe. It has to be the technology where LifePo4, for example, can be recharged 2,500, 3,500 times before it hits 80% of its usage capacity. So I'm picturing a future where LifePo battery packs are used in homes all the time, and they're just built into the home, and the solar panels are built into the home, and we don't need this power grid that is creating pollution, that they say we need all these crazy resources for, and what, to run an LED light that takes 5 watts? 5 watts into 1920 watts is like a lot. You know, it's hundreds of hours. It's a ridiculous amount. Air conditioning, fine. It takes a kilowatt air conditioning, but you don't need to use an air conditioner all the time. I believe window fans are fantastic, but probably in Florida you might need one. But then you also have ceiling fans, which take only 20, 40, 50 watts. So then again, this is usable. They have a bigger one, 300 amp hours, which is close to 3.7 kilowatts. It's really good. I own that too. I like it. I like the compactness of this. I like the idea that I could just take this outside, connect some solar panels, use this. But in the meantime, if I'm not using solar panels, I can use standard Dell power bricks for like $25 on eBay. You know, used ones. Convert the end tip to this. You know, user beware, obviously. But, you know, make sure that the plus goes on the right, and the, you know, I'm not going to teach you electrical stuff. Obviously, do it at your own risk, but you could convert that Dell adapter to be used with this, because how this works is that it just takes any voltage and it converts it to the correct voltage for the battery pack. It's only for 12 volt battery packs. But you see over here, lithium iron phosphate, it just does 14.4 volts. So how a battery pack works is that it keeps outputting 14.4 volts. It keeps absorbing until it can't anymore, and then it stops absorbing. The battery voltage goes up to the 14.4 level or whatever, and it stops charging. And that's it. What else? So that's my review of this Cloudenergy. I'm very happy with this company so far. Perhaps it's very useful to check it out. I've looked at a lot of different battery packs from Amazon, and perhaps I'll review some of them. But this is how it looks like. I mean, it's nice. This is really cool. This is I believe, the best way to use it. I like connecting, because most devices aren't going to use that much amps. So 100 watts is going to be what? 8 amps? 9 amps? Connect one of these ports. Use different devices. Use most electronics. Oh, and it has also this port. That's a really cool port. This one can do up to 50 amps too. So, I mean, this battery is wholesomely made. They have other battery packs that are really cool too. They have golf cart batteries. I like the portability of this. You know, I believe you could throw this in a backpack, take the charge controllers, take 3-4 solar panels, set it up outside. I live in the city right now. You know, I do want to have an off-grid place, but even if I was off-grid, I could just take this to my off-grid place and connect it very easily, or disconnect it and move along, which is really good too. So guys, thumb up the video, check out my other videos, and let's have a discussion. What battery packs have you found that are awesome, and have you came up with great ideas like I have, which I believe are great, with the Anderson connectors? Perhaps I should make an Anderson connector making video, because converting everything to Anderson connectors and figuring out that certain things need certain voltages, you could convert laptops to that, running off battery packs. And also this could be a UPS too. How? Think about it like this. So you have a laptop. All right, so you have a laptop, and you just connect the laptop via USB-C. If it uses standard barrel plug, you just get a power delivery adapter for 20 volts, cut off that end, or just buy one of those adapters on Amazon and power that off it. You could even power computer screens. I found that even if it says 19 volts, that it would work. With the Minis Forum, it worked. With the B-Link PC, it worked. Both said 19 volts in the power brick. I believe that voltage rating probably has 1 or 2 volt tolerance, because at the same time, if you have USB-C power delivery, that's 20 volts. I've converted a computer screen that's 19.5 volts to run off USB-C, and it works fine with the 20 volt power delivery. Obviously, do the stuff at your own risk, but this is pretty cool. Connect it equal worthy. You could see the charging speed. This has become a wholesome battery. That's all I have to say. All right, friends. Talk to you soon.